Well, very good evening, friends, and welcome to episode 3 of Ground Zero Everyday Leaders, a show that actually invites guests, more like friends, more than guests, I would say, to come and have a conversation with me, the host, Alan D'Souza. And today I have a special guest. So, with that, let me take this opportunity in I don't know how to introduce this gentleman. This person happens to be so very close to me because we've been spending time right from the childhood. The name is Samir Bapat. He's my school buddy. He's my schoolmate, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm not sure how things will evolve when I talk to this person live and trying to make it a formal conversation as such, but. Here we go. Samir, welcome to this episode 3. It's exciting. It's lovely. We are not talking as classmates, remember. We are talking as two personalities who have seen good amount of life behind us, and we've gone through a lot of it. And here we are, chatting on a conversation, Ground Zero Everyday Leaders. So with that, welcome to the show, Samir.
Hey, thanks, Alan. Thanks for the opportunity to be part of this amazing show. I am really excited that you have started this leadership studio for the newer the next generation, and I think that's a great platform and a great forum for any upcoming aspiring leaders to kind of hear experiences from different leaders, and again I watched Viraj and Ravi's shows as well. A lot to learn from each of these great individuals. So I think that you need to have that spirit of learning, and once you have that ingrained in your kind of system, then you are always improving and getting better at things. So let me pause. Yeah, I'm really super excited.
Super. I mean, absolutely the same sentiments that I share because every time I have the conversation, and I mean, even if it's a casual conversation, not necessarily a formal interview or so on and so forth, it's so much exciting when you learn from experiences that people have had in their lives and where they stand. I mean, from where they have come to where they have stand, and exactly the reason I'm speaking to you today, Samir, from a school in Goa to Gujarat and to the Vada Pav place and the commercial capital of India to the Trump capital of the world. My, that's been quite a journey, Samir. Please elaborate on that.
Yeah, no, thanks for the nice words and the kind introduction. So yeah, I think as you rightly stated, right? I mean, we all grew up in a small town of Vasco. I was fortunate enough to be part of such a great community in Goa. I mean, Goa is always beautiful. I was born and raised there, so there is always this emotional attachment with that place. Spending quality time with you and all the other school friends. We all played together, we studied together. I remember those last minute exam days when we used to work together. It was an amazing experience. That being said, I think WhatsApp again has brought us very close. So thanks to the WhatsApp software, which allows us to kind of connect on a regular basis.
So,
In terms of my journey, I would say, after I completed my schooling, I did my engineering from NIT Surat and then did my MBA from Mumbai University. And I started my career in a software company, and then had an opportunity to come to the US in 2000. So since 2000, I have been part of the healthcare space, and have been able to kind of play, multiple roles, wear multiple hats. My roles would typically range from leading teams. I started my career as a programmer just so that, that was my strength initially. But then as you move along the corporate ladder, you feel, you have the potential to kind of lead teams. So you self evaluate, you self introspect. There is constant learning, constant evaluation of a person happening all the time. And that led me to believe that, I have a lot more that I can accomplish in a by utilizing my skills that I have, and at the same time learning from my peers, my supervisors, my team members. So as part of that journey, I played different roles, whether it was, leading projects, managing teams. But what my philosophy in general is, if you are able to manage yourself very well, you are able to manage your family, manage your time, manage your energy. If you are able to lead yourself well, if you take good care of yourself, then others will follow you, others will respect you, others will partner with you. So I think it all starts with your own self.
Very well said.
Everything else will fall in place.
Very well said. I think it's perfectly said, and you need to set your priorities right, and that's what we experience. I mean, remind me, Samir. We had this in school. We had the first monitor, we had the second monitor, and we had the prefect.
Right.
Had you had that opportunity of being one of them in your school? I can't. I was a prefect, I think, in one of my classes, but
No, I remember you were a monitor too, because I remember that red badge or green badge that you had on your shirt. So I might have been. I don't remember, to be honest. I probably was a very low prof. I mean, I used to keep a very low key. I was not. I was kind of a little shy person.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
I mean, I was not an extrovert. I was kind of keeping to myself, but that's how my personality was at that time.
I
But
agree.
as you evolve, as you move out of that protected shell and into a new world, that's what teaches you, the how to navigate challenges, how to face hardships, how to deal with tough people, tough situations. So I think that's what makes you more mature, and I think that life teaches you a lot. So
Absolutely.
yeah, you're right.
Absolutely. I mean, that was exactly the reason I asked. You were a shy person, and I,
Right.
I always used to see you. We used to see that this very humble Samir Bapat standing among the ranks. A very, just to mention, folks, we had an extremely talented batch in terms of academics, in terms of sports. I think we had a very, very, in fact, in the 10th standard, for me, if you remember right, I think if I remember right, sorry, we cracked it, right? We had around 8 or 9 board ranks, and
Right.
that itself was a record, I think, at the time. And then you guys went on to even make us proud in the 12th standard. So no, I think we had a fantastic batch in terms. I think overall we had a fantastic batch, not just in academics, even in sports and other fields.
Right.
And I think we're both proud to say that we've got our colleagues and peers and classmates who are doing very well in life today, which
Right.
which is itself a great thing to see around you. Now, and that is the reason I was kind of wanting to know from you your perspective about leadership. I mean, I know you kind of defined that you've been a part of the leadership group, and you have people working under you, you have teams working under you. But what would be your definition and the meaning that you would bring forward to people who are listening today as in leadership, Samir?
Sure, sure. So I think for me, leadership is more about creating a common ground towards a common cause, right? I mean, that's what my belief is. And again, not something that I created this phrase. This is something I've been, practicing, hearing, talk. I mean, it's about teamwork, right? It's all boils down to teamwork. You're nobody by yourself. You have to, and especially in a corporate setting, right? I mean, again, my most of my examples, because of my experience in the corporate world, my examples would be around my domain experience that I had. But if I had to look at a corporate setting, then you cannot succeed all by yourself. You have to learn to lead first, then learn to kind of lead across, meaning work with your peers, work with your teams, build those relationships, manage up, lead up, make sure that you're able to kind of make your superiors, supervisors successful along the way, and then lead down, meaning how do you show a path, a career path to your team members, your employees. So it is, if you look at the corporate setting, then this hierarchical structure works. But I would say, let's not define leadership just with titles. I think that's where the problem is, because we ourselves are so obsessed with titles, and that limits our learning. So I think the way I would perceive as a leader is somebody who is willing to take on any challenges, and he is willing to make a difference in the community. I think that's a true leader. Uh, yeah, we have these artificial organization structures created for a reason, it's because you can better operationally manage a company or an organization. But true leaders are people who are selfless, who have the big picture view of how to solve big problems. What I'm doing at work is yeah, I'm not saying I'm doing something very extraordinary, but yeah, within the scope of my work, I'm kind of managing my show. But there are leaders who are unsung heroes who do things which, and we have never even heard of them. I think that's true leadership, who are able to move the needle, make a difference in the community. Those in my opinion are real leaders. I mean, yes, we have boundaries that we are, if you're basically working in corporate setting. so
Yes.
so I hope again, going back to that, creating a common ground towards a common cause.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I wouldn't hesitate to ask you, because, I've also worked in a kind of corporate environment, in a multinational kind of an environment, and so on and so forth. But what is it like? I mean, I'm sure you have worked with different nationalities when
Yep.
you got the exposure to have in the privilege, let's say, to work with a lot of nationalities around you. And this program is also focused to provide leadership guidance and such to the viewers who are watching, the young fellows, the college people,
Hmm.
college folks, and so on. But my question is pertaining to how do we stand out as an Indian? For example, when you moved from India to the US, you would have experienced a lot of culture change, and you would have experienced and seen a lot of different work styles around you, and even the leadership style for that matter. How would
Hmm.
you differentiate leadership qualities or traits or personalities when it comes to nationalities? Do you think there's anything that will differentiate one another?
I mean, I would not. Yeah, I mean, there will be some cultural nuances, especially if you're working in India and versus working in the US. There will always be some cultural differences which we have to adapt to and adopt as well. But in general, leadership doesn't have to be defined by culture or by personalities or nationalities, right? I mean, a person who is willing to take the risk and move to lead a team, irrespective of where you are, which culture, doesn't really matter, to be honest. Yes,
Understood.
you have to respect the local cultures, you have to respect the local traditions, you need to immerse yourself, you need to understand, you have to kind of be part of that fabric. But other than that, I don't see leadership is really different how it is done in India versus how it is done in the US. It's no different, because we are human beings. We all have emotions. We all like to be encouraged and motivated. So the skills, the social skills, the interpersonal skills are pretty much the same. It's just how you deliver the message might be different. India has a different way of accepting certain messages. US teams have a different way of receiving the messages. So there are some minor cultural nuances, but other than that, I don't see any difference which country you work in. It's pretty much, and if in fact, in today's world, if you see, we are working virtually
Hmm.
with people sitting in multiple time zones,
Absolutely. Yes.
right? So I think that barrier of, oh, I'm in this country versus that country has been moved. I mean, that barrier no longer exists. So I really don't agree with that, if you move to a different country, that you will not be a leader. Yes, there will be local challenges, understanding the what are the real problems that you have, that takes time. But other than that, I don't think so. I mean, I myself never felt that I'm an outsider here,
Absolutely.
to
No,
be
I
honest.
think we are setting an example right here, right? I'm speaking to you from a place where you've been,
Right.
born and brought up with, probably in Goa, and here I'm speaking to Samir, who's based out of the US. So there is absolutely no cultural difference when it comes to leadership. And Samir, I remember, in fact, I met you in Mumbai during one of your moves from the US back to India. And I think that was also, part of my question, because I remember you coming back and you had to adapt to a lot of changes and probably some challenges, not just the challenges when it comes to adapting to the city style and lifestyle back again, but also working in an environment such as Mumbai as against what you work there. And you pretty much answered the question, but yet I would like you to kind of just throw a little bit of light there. What were your challenges when you came back to India at that time, temporarily?
Yes, yeah, so you're right. I mean, I was kind of relocated to India for 5 years as part of my internal job transfer. Yeah, I think the challenges are, you are used to a certain way of working in a country, right? and then when you go back to a different country, you have to adapt to that style. For example, some things as simple as, in the US, people generally would start their work very early. By 7:38, people are at the desk, right? I mean, people are actually starting working. People leave their houses at 5:36 to get to work. That's not the way it works in India, right?
Sure.
India works in a different mindset. Again, nothing wrong or right, it's just different.
Sure.
And there is a reason why people in India start late, right? I mean, if, and again, my experience is related to software technology companies. So most of these people that I work with are working with US or European companies. So they have to kind of make sure their timings match with their US counterparts' times, right? So they start late and they work very late. So you would see a worker in India, or a person in India working till 9:30, 10, whereas in the US, you will see by 5 o'clock, the office is empty.
Yeah.
There is nobody in the office. So that is where the cultural difference is. I mean, there is no right or wrong. It just, everyone is trying to adapt so that they can be successful. so
True.
so I had to adjust to that change. I had to adjust to how people. So again, in India, I think the way people work is there is a lot of conversations around the water cooler, or there are a lot of conversations that happen
Mhm.
in the cubicles, right? And
Yes.
because I think in general we like to talk a lot, that kind of, I feel, is different here. I feel that when people are here at work, they are just working. Yes, there will be a little bit of water cooler conversations, but those are very limited conversations.
Right.
In India, we like to talk a lot, which is okay. That is nothing wrong. It's just that those conversations sometimes go beyond what is really expected. But nothing right or wrong. It's just two cultures are different, and we just have to adapt to that.
Point taken, Samir. Point taken, and lesson learned probably. But
Yeah.
then, yes, I mean, it definitely reminds me again of the way we drive in different countries. We have a right-handed drive that we picked up from the Britishers probably here in India. And when I go to the Gulf, you have to be adapting to an American style of driving
Right.
left-handed car, steered car, right? So you need to adapt to where you are, and I think you rightly put it in a right manner as well. Samir, a lighter question: what are your
Mm-hmm.
hobbies?
Yeah, I think it's important to have personal hobbies to kind of keep yourself charged up and stay away from the day-to-day challenges at work. So I primarily, like to play table tennis. We all grew up playing table tennis. So that's definitely my hobby. I also do a lot of reading, and when I say reading, doesn't have to be actually reading a book, but I'm listen to podcasts. So especially during my walks, or if I'm working out, I would be always listening to different podcasts, and those
Hmm.
podcasts don't necessarily have to be related to my area of work. It has to be, I mean, I try to learn from other domains, right? I subscribe to a podcast called Curiosity. it
Nice.
it helps you, if you get a chance, download this. It's available on App Store or on the Google Play Store. It allows you to kind of learn a lot of things that are happening around the world in different areas, not just limiting my scope of knowledge to my area of work, because I want to understand how things are done differently, what is happening around the world. So it's a great thing that I would recommend. Um, and then just spend quality time with the family. I think, it's not a hobby, but you really have to make time to take the kids out, play with them, spend time with them. I think that's important. It's not all work.
Absolutely. No, I think we certainly have a lot of memories around table tennis and the table that we played on,
Yep.
and of course a lot of other sports. Like innovative sports and invented sports, if I may. We even played. I remember we played hockey on terraces using
Yeah.
sponge balls. So I think
Yeah.
that pretty much flew around in the air. So Sabir, there's one question which comes to mind when I talk to people like yourself. I've asked this question to Viraj and Ravi in the past. Role model. There must be
Hmm.
somebody who kind of plays a very key, important role. And in the past, my guests have defined it beautifully, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Who is your role model, Samir?
Yeah. So again, I think your role models kind of also change as you grow, as you're going through different phases of life, right? I mean, you can't just stick with one role model. As times change, your perspectives changes, your priorities change. Based on that, you kind of look at, okay, what is it that these people have done in their life which makes a difference in the community. So maybe when I was growing up, definitely parents and teachers are your role models. That's how you start really kind of, try to say, okay, this is the person I would like to be.
Yeah.
And then, when you are in your teens, and especially when we were growing up, we were all fond of cricket. So Sachin was the role model of pretty much, yeah, I was not a sportsman, but that doesn't stop me from, kind of following him, and kind of his
No.
leadership style of how he was leading the team. If not leading the team, but at least how he was kind of
Contributing. Isn't it?
contributing to the Indian cricket, right? So if you look at all these sportsmen, these are really true leaders. But the way I would now look at, as I grow older and grow more mature, and continuously learning things, I think one person that I would really like to call out is, there's an unsung hero. I don't know if you've heard of this person. Maybe nobody even knows about him. There's a person called Dashrath Manji. He's the mountain man. I don't know if you heard this story, but I was kind of quite intrigued by his story. So this gentleman is from a remote village in Bihar, right? I mean, he's no longer. He passed away in 2007,
Mhm.
and he saw that, there was a lot of challenges where his villagers could not have access to schools or hospitals or job opportunities because of a big mountain that was blocking the path. And this is a true story. You can Google him, you can look on YouTube. And he literally, for 22 years, armed with a chisel, hammer, and a crowbar, carved a road through a mountain single-handedly with no local support. you
Wow.
know I think that's leadership. I think that is, and he actually built a road. And when I say build, meaning he carved a road. Of course, then people woke up, and then probably the administration came and built a tar road. But he took the challenge of carving a road through a mountain for 22 years. I think that's leadership. I mean, that is something you are willing to do on your own, so that somebody else is going to be benefited. I think
Yeah.
that's amazing. I think for me, that person is a role model. Which, I mean, yeah, you have all these CEOs and all great leaders, they will always be there. But
Yeah.
I think somebody like him has really made a difference to, hundreds of villagers there. So I would considering him as my role model, because perseverance, and he's a true example of, what perseverance is. So yeah, for me, I think I really look at him with respect.
In fact, the reason I'm kind of peeping down because I wanted to look at this message. In fact, I put it in my status today on WhatsApp.
Uh-huh.
It reads, it's a quote by Mother Teresa. It's do not wait for leaders, do it alone, person to person. And
Yep.
I think you gave a wonderful example right there, Samir. I think it's time that we move away from this thought process of waiting upon the administration to come and pounce on every little thing or expect every little thing to happen coming from somewhere else. There's no miracles happening down there. It's
Yeah.
left for us to put in a little bit of effort and take a step forward, isn't it?
Yep.
Uh, Samir, we are in some difficult times,
Okay.
and
Yep.
pandemic has hit the US as bad as it has hit India as well. What's the ground reality there?
Yeah, I mean, the ground reality is people have accepted it. It's just now people are taking precautions. People are wearing masks and going about their regular activities. But still, I mean, schools are virtual, work is virtual, but then not everything is virtual, right? I mean, you still have hospital workers going to the hospital. You have people working at the grocery stores. Those stores have opened now. I mean, there is only so much people can do. They cannot be staying at home forever. And very few industries can really go virtual. Not everyone can be virtual. So that's the harsh reality. And I think it's just a matter of how careful each person can remain. And I hope all our viewers are staying healthy and safe as well. But yeah, I think bottom line is, it is every person's responsibility to kind of, you know stay safe, and spread the virus, stop spreading of the virus.
Yes,
But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that there is no vaccine yet, and it's going to take some more time. But it is what it is. We just have to live with it.
agree.
But and yeah, adapt to the new normal.
Pretty much sounds like where we are here in Goa and in India as well. So I guess that's exactly how we have to take care of ourselves going forward. till we have the vaccination, we need to take care of ourselves. So Samir, it has been a pleasure talking to you, but I would want to end this conversation with one piece of advice coming from you to the youngsters watching the show. So please.
Yeah, again, I don't, I mean, yeah, in terms of advice, or I would say what I learned in the last 20, 22 years, I think nothing is too big or small. Be willing to adapt to change, and be willing to take on any new challenges that come along the way. And don't get obsessed with titles. I think that is the biggest mistake people make. Sometimes I feel if somebody is an independent consultant is a lot more happier than somebody who's just married to titles. I think that having a title kind of limits your scope to grow, but if you are managing things on your own as an independent consultant, I think that gives you that freedom to get your hands dirty, lead, manage, do a whole bunch of things. So I would advise, be open to learning. I think make sure you're learning all the time. You're unlearning new older things and relearning anything new that comes up. So I think that's the philosophy I would promote, and that's the philosophy I follow as well, that just be hungry to learn. I think that's key. The moment
Definitely.
you stop learning, your growth stops.
Definitely. No, I think those are words of wisdom coming from a very humble Samir Bapat, who's been my chatti dost, if I may.
Yep.
We've been classmates. We've been growing through together since our childhood, and it's been a pleasure talking to you, Samir. We've had parties together, we've had dinners together, but doing this show virtually, across thousands of miles, and yet getting connected, it brings joy, so much immense joy. And I'm sure many of our classmates will be watching today's session and the recordings as well. But also to the others who are watching, it definitely would be something that they would be looking forward to and have learned a lesson or two from Samir Bapat, who's been contributing so much to the society and people around. Congratulations, Samir, on your absolute gorgeous lifestyle and life. And regards and wishes to your family. Stay safe. And the election is around the corner for you guys, I suppose. So
Yep.
Let the Trump card win or let the other card win. It doesn't matter. But what we need is good administration wherever we are. So
Yep.
with that, Samir, I thank you once again for taking time off and joining me in this conversation today. God bless you and take care.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Bye.